On today's JMO, Josh and Joe, Aaron Rodgers news. Aaron Rodgers officially to the Jets.
Finally.
Yeah, it's about damn time, ain't it? We talk about that. We break down the trade. We talk about some other NFL news. It is draft week this week.
Yep.
We have Joe's official mock draft. It's you'll see it's better than
Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. I outdueled them last year.
outdueled Mel Kiper and Todd McShay last year, so you're getting some prime information here. We have OTDISH on this day in sports history. Then we talk about a little NBA playoffs, some surprises here, some not surprises there, including the Houston Rockets hiring Ime Udoka.
Let's rock and roll.
Welcome to JMO, Josh and Joe. It is Tuesday, April 25th, and Joe, Aaron Rodgers is officially a Jet. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah,
No way.
that's completely authentic and everything.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that ESPN panel, man.
I never heard this news.
Well, welcome to hell, Aaron Rodgers. According to Zach Wilson.
I know, right?
He's going to make his life hell, okay? All right, we'll see. I want to know what this hell's going to be like. It's just going to be MILFs trying to distract Aaron Rodgers the entire fucking time. They're just going to be showing them their titties the whole time.
The whole time.
Well, it finally got here. We all knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time, and it was beneficial. The Green Bay Packers needed it to be before the draft, for sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, it really couldn't be equitable.
Words. Mickelson.
Mickelson.
Phil Mickelson.
Phil
We did the
Mickelson.
warm up earlier, so that
Applicable. Goodness
Applicable.
gracious. Applicable.
There we go.
That's it.
That's why we do the voice warm ups before.
Yep. Anyways, so you really couldn't do it for next year because heck, Rodgers doesn't even know how much longer he's playing.
Right. So they had to get it done before the draft this year. They got in a decent haul. I mean, they have the number 13 pick, this year's 42nd pick. That's a 2023 second round pick, number 42, and this year's 6th round pick, number 207, and a conditional 2024 second round pick that becomes a first round pick if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the plays, which he will. So that's going to be a number one first round pick next year.
Yeah, I mean, barring an injury, that's the only way I can see it. I don't think he just quits on his own, obviously.
No. Yeah, I don't think he's ever played less than 65% of the snaps in his career.
Not even close.
No, I'm talking about each year. Each year he always plays way more than 65%. So that's a first round draft pick. Nice haul for the Packers. Now the Jets get Rodgers and the number 15 pick and a 5th round pick, number 170. So they pretty much just swapped first round picks.
Swap first round picks, yeah. Which honestly, it does benefit Green Bay in a way. I mean, most people will think, oh, this isn't nothing. This is kind of nothing swapping picks, but it puts them a little bit closer if they want to be aggressive in the first round. Now they have some collateral too to back them up if they find somebody that they really want to maybe support Jordan Love in the offense or fortify the defense. Not a bad move.
Also, it's putting them up ahead of a few teams. So, if they wanted to trade with somebody if they wanted to trade with a team that wanted to get ahead of the Jets or the New England Patriots, who they have that option now to trade as well. They need to use the pick. Obviously, I think, in my opinion, they need to put pieces around Jordan Love because Jordan Love ain't it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Jordan Love is not the guy. He's not the guy, but you can possibly put a good team like the Jets did with Zach Wilson, put a good team around him and make him look good. Let's see what Matt LaFleur has in store because I don't think Love is it.
Well, he does run an offense. I will have to say this for Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur does run an offense that caters to kind of the same type of system San Fran does, where it's kind of everybody contributes and it's not just all in the quarterback play. Because we saw that was the same case whenever he came in and when with Rodgers. Rodgers didn't have to do everything. You know, he they were
did
good.
a lot of it. He did most of it.
He did a good bit. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you saw more of the emergence of like your running backs, like Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, and then honestly, there wasn't really as much emergence from like the wide receivers or really a need to. Well, I mean, they had Devontae Adams, but he was there before LaFleur got there. So I don't know.
I feel you're stretching like a fat bitch in yoga class.
I'm
right
kind
here.
of stretching a little bit. I will admit, but I know their type of offense that they run.
I like where you're going with that because you're just trying to figure out ways that it could work. And what I'm gathering is they pretty much got to become the San Francisco 49ers.
Exactly.
Which LaFleur, he's a good coach, so he could possibly make it work. It's just going to be a little bit of adjustment because you're going from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. As of like just right off the top of my head when I saw this, I was like, the Jets won this easy. I thought the Jets definitely won. I don't think there was a scenario where the Packers could win. I'm talking on paper right now in this moment. Because the Jets they still have their first round pick, and they got Aaron Rodgers. For this year, they won. They got Aaron Rodgers. They're a Super Bowl contender now. The only way we'll figure out who actually won this trade, obviously, is going to be in the future when we figure out how these draft picks pan out. You can't really decide who wins except for the fact that the Jets right now won this trade because they got Aaron Rodgers.
If there was a betting line to this, obviously, like the Jets going into this trade would have been favored, and like Packers would have been underdogs because, especially with the position that Aaron Rodgers was putting the Packers in, so they were definitely the underdogs.
Yeah. And also, I think people were talking about how he might just play 1 year and then be done. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play one more year. I think he's got more than one more year. And if history repeats itself, he's going to go to the Vikings after next year. But
I mean, are we talking physically one more? Like he's got one more year, or we talking mentally? He's got one more year.
Mentally, people are thinking he's going to be checked out after 1 year.
And
this is speculation. This isn't him saying anything. This is other people talking. Which, when we get to the draft, we'll see that people talking means absolutely nothing, or it could mean everything. People have no idea.
People have no idea.
But a big thing that they did was they opened up cap space. The Jets have opened up $40-something million in cap space with this. So it's huge. They will, again, like I said, we'll see who wins in the future. But for now, I think it's the Jets. Jets got a W here. But it's finally done. It's finally done, and it's nice. It's just. I think everybody can just breathe now. There's no more anticipation. There's no more waiting. There's no more like, oh my God, when is this ever gonna fucking get done? Because I mean, he did say it in March 15th. He said it March 15th that he wanted to play for the Jets.
They want to play for the Jets, yeah. So any fake overreactions is definitely not necessary. But as we saw with the ESPN NFL Live group,
did you see the NFL Live group? It was terrible.
Dan Orlovsky, Marcus Spears, Amina Kimes, Lauren Rutledge was there too, but she probably had the most natural reaction. Like she was
sincere.
She was like, "Oh yeah, we heard this coming, but it's nice to hear it on coming up live on air." And everybody else was like, "Oh, I've been stuck under a rock. I did not know this was going to ever happen."
Oh man, at least play it off like it was like, "Oh yeah, it's finally done." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The only person that I could understand to react like that was Greeny. Because Greeny is a lifelong Jets fan.
Okay.
So it was like finally it's done. So I can understand him, but everybody else, please, come on.
Fake news.
Fake news. Let's see. You got anything else on that trade? I'll move on to.
Man, honestly. I kind of want to revert back to the Aaron Rodgers in hell because I think he is going to a hell, but it's not Zach Wilson. I think it's going to be his personal hell with New York is going to be the New York media.
I don't think so. I think he's tailor-made for it.
I don't know. I think it's going to annoy the mess out of him because, I mean, if you thought he was, like, annoyed with the press before, Like, New York media is a whole different ballgame.
I don't think he was. I think he was messing with them. I really
Just,
don't think he was annoyed.
Like, secretly, like, just obsessed with getting all the attention.
Oh, he loves the attention. He absolutely does. So he held Green Bay hostage. He loves this shit. But yeah, it is funny. I'm pretty interested to see how Zach Wilson reacts to this, because this has got to be one of the more humbling things he's ever had to go through. Just watching everybody celebrate him losing his job, essentially.
Yeah.
It's essentially like every single Jets. I mean, this isn't just Jets fans or the media. This is Jets players that are rejoicing that he lost his job.
Yeah. Does he find Aaron Rodgers' mom's friend and then hooks up with her?
Ooh, what if he finds Aaron Rodgers' mom?
I wasn't going to go there, but yeah. I mean, because that would be real drama right there. But
Dude, you want to talk about hell. Holy shit.
I was kind of keeping it aligned with, Zach Wilson's past type of thing. Going for the mom's friend.
He's a MILF hunter, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why? Lock up your moms.
That's like his version of a revenge tour. Mm-hmm. So when he said, he's going to make it like a life like a living hell.
I mean, how else was he going to do it? He can't do it on the football field. We already saw that.
Well, that's what he'll get frustrated that he won't be able to successfully do it on the football field, and that's when he will turn to his his old methods,
his bag of tricks. Yeah. So, what I had next was Allen Robinson to the Steelers. This was a steal.
Kind of an under radar move.
It was a little bit. The Steelers get Allen Robinson in a 7th-round pick. It would be number 251, and then the Rams get a 7th-round pick, number 234. So essentially, they swapped 7th-round picks, and the Steelers just got Allen Robinson. They got Allen Robinson for nothing, and the Rams paid $10.25 million of Robinson's salary. The Steelers paid the remaining $5 million. Steal.
Definitely a steal. And I think Allen Robinson, like, Pittsburgh Steelers is a perfect situation for Allen Robinson. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're looking to make a comeback in your career, this is like a no pressure situation. Basically, they've got two guys that are kind of fighting for the number 1 position, and basically you're just kind of being relied on as a number 3 option. If you do anything better than that, heck, that's exceeding expectations.
Yeah, I think they Steelers were just right place, right time. I think it's like the Rams needed to get rid of something. It was like we had an analogy the other day, or last episode, I believe, with the foreclosed home. They were basically like the couple that's getting a divorce and they need to split the home, so they couldn't make payments on the home. I'm sorry. A couple that couldn't make payments on the home for whatever reason, bank foreclosed, and now they just have to get rid of it. And they just kind of like fell into this house. Mm-hmm. And it was cheaply priced, and it works out perfect for them. The Rams just needed to get rid of it because they had to sell it quick.
Yep.
So yeah, good for the Steelers. I think it'll be I think the Rams are starting to they're in cap hell. They're in cap space hell.
Well, we knew that was coming. They knew it was going.
But we're starting to slowly kind of see it. It's like we knew it was coming. It's almost like it's like the Aaron Rodgers thing, and we knew it was coming, but it's nice to see it play out.
It was like the Rams were doing all this moves, and like very distant in the background, you could kind of hear the lyrics to like "Highway to Hell" by AC/DC, but now it's like blaring, like it's
right. They cranked it up.
Yeah, they cranked it up. So basically, yeah, they're going to cap hell.
Yep. They they're feeling the flames. Let's see. The NFL suspended how many players? 6 players? 5 players? I think it was 5.
5.
Yeah, 5 players. Honestly, nobody really cares about 4 of them. Jamison Williams, the only one that is kind of much importance right now.
Yep.
Suspended 6 games for gambling.
Yep.
What was the game? Why? How? So what was the story?
So basically, the other guys, Quintez Cephas and C.J. Moore and Shaka Toney.
It's an all-time name, Shaka Toney and Quintez Cephas.
Yeah, Cephas has done some damage too.
He has. He's been Actually, I do remember hearing his name.
Yeah. He, the thing is though he was kind of one of those role players and really couldn't afford, something like this on his reputation, so they definitely cut him. But yeah, Jamison Williams is definitely the big one, and Stanley Berry, their suspensions are kind of bullshit. So, so the NFL has the rule, obviously, no gambling, no sports gambling, among the players within the league. However,
on the premises too.
And it's on the premises, and that's the key information here for them. So honestly, the bet that they did a sports bet for another league and another sport entirely.
So it was something they could gamble on.
They could have done it legal, but the fact that they did it on the premise of the Lions facility is why they got this. It was a rule violation, and they got the suspension.
So all they had to do was walk 50 feet in one direction.
50 feet in one direction,
and they would have been fine.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I don't really understand that, especially a 6-game suspension. For that part of the infraction of the rule, I get the other guys if they're betting. They were betting. Obviously the standard's been set by Calvin Ridley's suspension. They were betting on the league, and that's an indefinite suspension with they have to reapply at the end of the season.
Yeah, but what is being on the premise of the facility have anything to do with it?
I don't know.
I'd understand, it's frowned upon when people go to their job and they've been drinking, or they've been smoking crack or something like that. If you're impaired and can't do your job correctly, then yes, I understand why you can't do it on the premises.
Yeah.
But gambling does not keep you from doing your job, and you were doing it within your right to do it as an NFL player. I don't understand that part. That part is just really tugging at my brain strings right now.
And it's not like every time they're at the facility they're on the clock type of thing. They have different areas, team building areas of where they have those ping pong tables or kind of team bonding rooms and such.
Right.
That they're there recreationally.
Okay, agreed. And I mean offices and stuff have break rooms and workout facilities as well. But it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So you can do it outside the facility, but you can't do it inside the facility.
Exactly.
But it's the same thing.
I get how state laws are different, where we can gamble in Louisiana, but once we cross over the state line of Texas, we can't gamble anymore.
Yeah.
I meant on our phones, sportsbook apps. But they're not I don't get it. It's just. I've been thinking about reasons why, and why the NFL would make that rule, but it's not coming to me.
It's kind of bullshit.
It is kind of bullshit, if I'm being honest. It's just the NFL just flexing its dick and coming all over everybody like it always loves doing. So, yeah, Jamison Williams suspended. That's a big one, and he's a good one. He's really good. So, we'll see. I don't know who the Detroit Lions play game 7, but that's when he'll be back. His draft stock will drop for sure in fantasy. Do you want to move on to the draft?
Yeah, let's do it.
Been waiting on this. Holy fucking smoke screens, dude! This NFL draft, I love it. I think they get better and better every single year, especially this year. This one's good. I mean, we'll dive into it, but. Somehow C.J. Stroud went from dueling number 1 quarterbacks with Bryce Young to now he's the third, fourth best quarterback now.
I think actually he was almost certain number 1 pick.
Yeah,
at a certain point.
I do. Yeah, and agreed. And because he's a little arrogant and cocky, not coachable. I think the not coachable thing goes out the window once you get into the NFL. You deal with egos all the time. That's part of your fucking job as an NFL head coach. Not coachable is only applicable in college, and he fucking tore it up at Ohio State. Now, granted, he did have Jackson Smith and Jigba, but
and Marvis
Harrison
Jr. and Chris Olave for a little bit.
I know, and yes, I get it. Why Ohio State has a bunch of badass receivers all the fucking time. I get it.
Ohio State probably went through the greatest line of wide receivers in their entire time of NCAA history.
Dude, this is dating in I think they've had stud receivers dating all the way back to when Michael Thomas was there. So yeah, we got the smoke screens. We got a Will Levis smoke screen too. You saw this one. This one was good. He went today as of Tuesday, April 25th. He went from the 40-1 odds to be the number 1 pick in the draft to 4-1. Yep. I'm gonna repeat that: 40-1 odds to be the number 1 pick to 4-1.
Yep.
All because of Reddit.
All because of Reddit.
It's a beautiful day and age we live in where Reddit can affect odds like that.
Reddit affects the stock market, and Reddit affects the sportsbook gambling world. It is
incredible.
Yeah.
It really is how the effect of some troll. This isn't even a real, not even a real person. Just a troll. Just come in and just basically types in a bunch of letters on Reddit and boom.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is I was looking at the responses, and I think the best response I had was, it was quoting a source, and it's I know a guy. Trust me, I know a guy.
Trust me. Oh man, he should have said. The only thing that would have been better was if he said Wikipedia.
Right.
But so yeah, we got Joe's mock draft, and this is the only mock draft that really matters because I think, if I remember correctly, and I probably can't remember because I can't remember what I ate last week, but I think you got it. I think you were more correct than Mel Kiper last year.
Yeah, that's
the first round at least.
That's the best way to put it to really sum it up correctly.
I think you were more correct.
I had actually outdueled Mel Kiper and Todd McShay.
And Todd McShay. Oh, I didn't know.
Spot.
I didn't know Todd McShay. I thought it was just Mel Kiper.
Yeah, they were so quarterback hungry, and
yeah,
I had the patience to know that hey. None of these guys are good enough to be the top 15 picks.
I think you had Kenny Pickett outside of the top 15, right?
Yep.
And they had him. I think they had Desmond Ridder going in the first round for some reason.
I think I remember them having 3 quarterbacks in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So again, this is the man. Now, Joe, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a question. What do you think is harder to correctly predict? The first round correctly. Now I'm talking every single pick perfectly. The first round of the NFL draft or the first round of the NCAA tournament March Madness draft or March Madness bracket.
Ooh.
Because they're both, I think, 32. It's 32 first round games,
32
I believe.
games, yeah.
And then, because it's a round of 32. And then this is, most years it's 32 picks. This year it's only 31. What do you think's easier to pick?
Based off experience and just noticing that either my first game loses or my number 1 or my champion loses, I'm going to have to go with the first round of the NCAA bracket is harder to predict than the NFL draft first round.
That was my initial reaction. I was like, the first round of the NCAA tournament is definitely the harder one. Then I thought about it. There are too many variables, I think, in the first round of the draft with all the trades. So you have to not only do you have to correctly pick the players, you have to make sure that these teams they're going to trade up for different players. Mm-hmm. So you have to take that into account as well. I just think there's too many variables.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I just kind of was going based off my experience, and especially my experience in the NCAA bracket's been absolutely pathetic.
Okay, fair enough.
It's been borderline, probably like that of a toilet bowl.
Your prediction last year for round 1, for round 1 of last year's draft, your prediction I think was better than your first round of March Madness this year.
Probably so.
We'll see. Actually, that'll be fun. We'll see how you do on this year's projection versus March Madness. We'll get a percentage.
Yeah. I almost included trades in this one, but I did not.
It's so hard to include trades because, like, you have to worry about, like, what... The trades usually come during the draft whenever, because of what another team picks. And then, like, maybe somebody will pick Will Levis too soon, and then somebody will pick C.J. Stroud too soon, and then people will scramble for Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
And then the opposite can go. Maybe Bryce Young gets picked, and maybe Will Levis, one of them gets picked later on down the draft. Then you don't have this scurry for top picks so that they can draft a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and I think there's some kind of indicators, like you said. I mean, it's really more of a domino effect. Like whatever move happens, you've got like the whole different scenarios and timelines. From like Doctor Strange has like all the options like lined up, and you can go like either sort of direction. But I think there's some key ones that you can kind of point out at the very beginning. Arizona's one that comes to mind. That third pick, depending on what Carolina and Houston do, that could be a very big trade target for a lot of teams.
Huge.
I think the Detroit Lions is another one at 6. That's not a bad trade target. If in case they wanted to get some more picks. I'm trying to think of some other ones. There's a couple of other ones too that are there.
Let's just go through your mock draft. Do you want to start at the bottom or at the top?
Let's start off with the top.
Top, yeah. Actually, that makes more sense.
So I went ahead went with Bryce Young. I didn't listen to the Reddit, even though I did place a little bet on the Reddit one.
Will Levis.
Will Levis. I was like, you know what? Might as well. Whatever. Maybe he did hear that he was telling friends and family that he was getting picked number 1. I don't know. Will Levis seems like he's got a big mouth. He's not afraid to talk about what he eats in his diet. So,
dude, who the fuck puts mayo in their coffee?
Yeah. If I was a scout, I would have ducked him points because of that.
That's a psychopath move.
Yeah.
And the only time you work as a psychopath is when you're on defense. Like you have to be a middle linebacker, running back type of person for that to make sense. That's the only positions you can be a psychopath in.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, because he's not going to bond with his teammates.
He's not, and you have to have you got to be thinking correctly. You got to be thinking straight.
Yeah.
You got to, be on your toes all the time when you're a quarterback.
I don't think banana peel is, brain food.
Oh, I forgot he eats bananas whole, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably got lots of protein, but it's probably not brain food.
Psychopath.
Yeah. Complete psychopath.
Who do you have number 2? So you got Carolina picking Bryce Young, which, here's the thing. I'm not so sure about that. I think that's who they had. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea because whenever they traded up for that top pick, C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young were like the battling for the top spot.
Yeah.
I'm guessing people have been talking in the Carolina organization about Bryce Young being the top pick.
I think he's just the safest pick, to be honest. I mean, he's got the production there. The talent's been there. He's the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. Everything checks up. It's just I think it's stupid to go a different direction.
I think C.J. Stroud should be number 1, but my humble opinion.
So
okay, so who you got Houston going?
So I got Houston. I kind of believe the story and the rumors about Houston not picking a quarterback. So I got him going with Will Anderson. I think he's just he's a playmaker on the edge, and that's going to be something I think D'Amico Ryans kind of emphasizes this year is defense, getting his defense built up and kind of do a strategy like Robert Saleh did with the Jets. Like he built his defense up and then also kind of try to build up some young players on the offense and then go after a quarterback.
I agree wholeheartedly with you on this one.
Yeah.
I think that they're not going to be in contention next year. They're going to have a rookie head coach. They'll have Davis Mills or a rookie quarterback, depending on what it is, or what they go with. This is a rebuilding year for them. They're not. They have a couple of pieces in place. They have Stingley. Stingley's nice on the edge out there
on the defense.
On the defensive side. Jeez, I don't really know of too many Houston players, man. I'm like racking my brain trying to think like who they have, who are their guys.
Well, that only makes my case a little bit better that he's going to be worried about building up the team rather than actually trying to go with a franchise quarterback.
Brandon Cooks isn't there anymore.
Yeah, and I think
who's their running back?
And I think a lot of teams are really eyeing. They like Caleb Williams better than any of the quarterbacks in this year's class.
Caleb Williams.
So,
and that's another thing. You got those guys that like he could be. Caleb Williams could end up being a outstanding quarterback. It will. I mean, time will tell, obviously, but I don't know. He seemed to have all the he seems to have all the pro pieces in his game.
Yeah.
But I love Will Anderson. I think it should have been. I think him or Jalen Carter should have gone. They're the most talented players in the draft right now.
Yep. And honestly, the thing is I think D'Amico Ryans is not afraid to go forward with Davis Mills, because I know as much as people kind of like to shit on him, the franchise has been very fond of him. They've stuck around with him this long, and he's got the quarterback coach from San Fran for the past 5 years who is going to probably run the same offense as San Fran typically does, which, again, as we alluded to earlier in the podcast, not quarterback heavy.
Not quarterback heavy. And he's tall. Davis Mills is tall.
Yeah.
So he can
see over the offensive lineman.
You just tip your cap or hang your hat on that.
And when you see the guys, when you can actually see the receivers, you can throw to receivers.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's, quarterback explained.
Who you got Arizona picking?
So Arizona, there was a couple options I kind of wanted to go with this one. I did want to go with Jalen Carter, but I think he slips a little bit. I end up going with Devin Witherspoon, cornerback from Illinois. I think cornerback is being more valued than people give it credit for nowadays. We had Stingley go in the third position last year. So I think they're going to kind of go with the same trend. But ultimately, if I really had to do this as an accurate pick, I think it's going to be a trade.
A trade?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I think it's going to be a trade if Will Anderson Jr. is selected with the number 2 pick.
Second pick.
Because they need a Will Anderson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
If Will Anderson Jr. falls to them, they will definitely pick him. But I agree with you. If Will Anderson Jr. gets picked, I don't think they go Jalen Carter. I agree with you on that. I think his off-the-field issues have kind of tainted his draft stock, even though he is arguably the most talented player in this entire draft.
But I don't think he'll fall too far. I think he's just going to fall out of the top 5. I think Seattle's got too much of a big need at number 6 that he's gonna land there.
I like that idea. If Will Anderson Jr. goes before number 2. That could be trade bait because the Cardinals could get a lot for that.
Yeah,
right off the top.
And one of them could be the next pick, which is the Indianapolis Colts, which I have them picking Will Levis, and I think that is their guy.
Oh yeah,
I don't think it's Stroud. I think it's Will Levis.
I agree.
Yeah.
If they were gonna go quarterback heavy this draft, it would be Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud to Houston, and then ideally Will Levis at Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm. So, yep, you got them at 4. Actually, Seattle's got the 5th pick. They don't have the 6th, but the Jalen Carter at 5th. Detroit picking Peter Skorowski, offensive guard, offensive tackle.
Is that the guy from Northwestern?
Yeah, he's really got himself like more of a Zach Martin mold. Like he's coming out as a offensive tackle, but he would be better fitted as an offensive guard, which is kind of a need for the Lions. I think they go there, shore up the offensive line, really make the offensive line good. And they have another pick in the draft later on.
Because they like Jared Goff. They like Jared Goff in Detroit for some reason, but they do like him. And for some reason, I think Jared Goff likes Detroit.
They've been doing. They had a high flying offense last year.
It wasn't bad. And like they had Dan Gamble had them playing some ball.
Yeah,
they were playing some ball. So they were rah guys. They were pretty pumped up.
Yep. Right, next pick, Las Vegas. I got them picking Nolan Smith. They just need some playmakers. Nolan Smith is ultra athletic.
He's a fucking freak.
Yeah, and their linebackers are terrible. So, all right, Atlanta, Christian Gonzalez. I almost kind of had Christian Gonzalez going as the first cornerback. He's neck and neck with Devin Witherspoon, but Devin had just a better performance on the field. He was lights out, the best cornerback on the field tape-wise. Christian Gonzalez, maybe just a little bit more talented as far as attributes go, but so Atlanta needs help everywhere, but definitely defensive back.
I saw Bijan Robinson going to Atlanta. How on God's green earth would somebody say Bijan Robinson to Atlanta? They got Cordell Patterson and Tyler Algiers.
Yeah, and I don't think that just fixes their problems. I think it's just more of like I think you're just basically it's like putting a Band-Aid on like a big faucet.
Band-Aid on a bullet wound?
Bullet wound, yes. That's probably the best way to do it. I was thinking more of the guy, the slap it on guy, the Flex Seal.
Flex Seal? Yeah.
Like one of those.
Yeah, but that
pills.
shit actually works.
Yeah. Well, no, what I was saying is put a Band-Aid on like what you would typically do on Flex Seal.
Got it. Okay.
A leak like that.
So I want to go back to the Vegas pick. You don't think Vegas is going to pick a quarterback?
No.
Okay.
You don't sign Jimmy Garoppolo to get a quarterback. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but do they actually believe Jimmy G's going to work?
Yeah. Josh McDaniels was his offensive coordinator.
I know, but they actually are all in on Jimmy G?
The only reason why they would have speculation on Jimmy G is if they didn't think he was going to stay healthy the entire year.
Okay. All right.
I think at least they give him 1 year to check to see. And the thing is I think they have a veteran quarterback as a backup. They're doing somebody as a backup rather than somebody that is a groom. Mm-hmm. Although C.J. Stroud would still be on the board, it would be tempting.
That's what I'm saying. Like they had Anthony Richardson on the board, C.J. Stroud still on the board.
I think Anthony Richardson drops.
Do you think he goes out of the first round?
I think he drops. I don't think he drops out of the first round because there's a perfect spot for him later on down the first round. But I think he drops.
Okay, let's get to the next one then.
All right. Chicago, Darnell Wright from offensive tackle from Tennessee. Pretty self-explanatory. Need to protect your quarterback.
They definitely need that. Well, they need defensive players too.
They do, but I think you're committed to Justin Fields. I mean, he was scrambling for his life last year. Like, I think you just kind of help protect him, make him a little bit more comfortable in the pocket. That way, he can improve his passing. Mm-hmm. Philly, I got Bijan Robinson going in for Philly. I think this could be a later pick for Philly. This could possibly be a 30th pick if he was to drop that far. But just for the sake of picking him up from somebody later down the road that might be looking for him, say a Tampa Bay or LA Chargers, I think they go with the safe pick. And I think because they really have a hole at running back right now. And, I mean, you match him up with the running offense that they do with Jalen Hurts, I think it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, Philly was using a bunch of different running backs last year.
Yeah. So, and then Tennessee, C.J. Stroud falls to them. I think they take it.
Oh, they have to. If C.J. Stroud goes anywhere near Tennessee, they have to take him.
They got to take him, yeah.
Ryan Tannehill's out.
And I think, honestly, I think that was a product of, like, without doing trades, I think that was a product of just teams that didn't necessarily really need a quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, Atlanta could have probably if they didn't believe in Desmond Ridder, but I think that's the route they're going this year. But like Seattle, Detroit, Las Vegas, Chicago, they all have quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, all right, Houston, Tyree Wilson out of Texas.
If that happens, would be an absolute steal.
Oh, I think so too. I think Tyree's like a top 10 talent, and he gets paired up with Will Anderson. I mean, that's DeMeco Ryans right there all the way.
I love how you're leaning into this DeMeco Ryans theory,
dude. I think so. I mean, defensive-minded coaches they tend to build defensively first.
Yeah, but I understand that, but it's also not like solely the head coach's decision.
Yeah.
But I kind of like where you're going. I'm on board. I'm on board the Houston defensive train. But I would be very surprised if Tyree lasted that long.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal talent.
I'll go through these other ones pretty quickly here. Packers, Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah.
Kincaid,
whatever. Words are hard. New England, Joey Porter Jr. I think he just matches exactly the type of profile player that New England likes. New York Jets, Paris Johnson Jr., OT out of Ohio State.
Great pick.
Yeah, they need some help. They need to fortify that offensive line, especially with Aaron Rodgers, who's not as mobile as he used to be. Washington, Deontay Banks, cornerback out of Maryland, help on the outside, pair up on the opposite side of Kendall Fuller. Pittsburgh, Broderick Jones, offensive tackle. Need to shore up the offensive line. That was kind of a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, with their second first-round pick, goes after Lucas Van Ness.
So they got, what's-his-face 2.0.
So they basically got Aiden Hutchinson
2.0.
2.0, yeah. That's basically what they see right there.
I want that to happen so bad.
All right, and the next big profile pick, 19, I think Tampa Bay picks up on Anthony Richardson. I think he drops, but I think he drops to, if he drops to Tampa Bay, I think it's going to be hard for them to pass up.
You're right, because they don't have anybody.
Because think about it. You got Baker Mayfield. You probably use him for a year. Anthony Richardson is a project, and which is why he's going to be falling. And you use Baker Mayfield for the first year to get Anthony Richardson ready.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind that. I don't mind that pick at all. I don't know why they brought Baker Mayfield in. I think they've given up on
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, they've given up on this year, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well,
they were like half expecting Brady to show back up to training camp.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I think they really just got confident that Brady was going to play until he was 45, 46.
I think so. I hope they don't get Anthony Richardson, because playing against Anthony Richardson twice a year does not sound fun. I think he's going to be, if he does end up starting, I think he's going to be a decent quarterback. He could turn into a Cam Newton. I don't think he will.
They're definitely going to have to run an offense similar to what they did in Carolina with Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Seattle picking Myles Murphy, fortifying that defensive line. That was a weakness. L.A. Chargers, Brian Branch, go maybe opposite side of Derwin James.
Awesome pick.
Yeah, and then also if Derwin James is, he's not always healthy. I think Baltimore goes with wide receiver here, just Zay Flowers.
I'm surprised. I was looking. I'm surprised I hadn't heard that name yet.
Zay Flowers,
and I'm surprised it's the first wide receiver off the board.
I think Zay Flowers is the first wide receiver off the board. I think because of injury concerns for Jackson
Smith and Jigba.
Yep. So, and I think Baltimore goes wide receiver, gives another kind of recruiting tool to Lamar Jackson to sign, because OBJ is definitely a good recruiting tool, but what about for the future?
Right,
he's only on a 1-year deal.
OBJ is one and done.
Yeah. So Zay Flowers gives a little bit more kind of continuation from that. Minnesota, Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback. They just lost Patrick Peterson, and that defense was absolutely atrocious. Jacksonville goes Michael Mayer for tight end out of in North Dakota.
Who is it? The Jacksonville tight end.
Evan Ingram. He's on the franchise tag right now. So he kind of 1 year, and then Michael Mayer, they can kind of spin it off as hey, he can block and receive, and we'll help hopefully have him develop. And then after that franchise tag from Evan Ingram, he moves on to the starting role.
Yeah.
All right, New York Giants, DJ Turner, cornerback out of Michigan, extremely fast, ran the fastest 40. Good cornerback, too. Dallas, Kalaje Cansey, D-line out of Pittsburgh. I kind of really wish he falls to the Saints.
That's who I hope we get.
I hope we get him, but doing this realistically, I don't think he falls past Dallas. Buffalo, Osiris Torrance needs some help on the offensive lineman. That's offensive guard out of Florida. Cincinnati, Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M. They've lost both of their starting safeties in the free agency. They drafted one last year with the end of the first round pick. I think they drafted another one this year to kind of fortify those.
Not bad.
And then New Orleans, I think goes with Brian Breesy, DL out of defensive lineman out of Clemson. Been hurt a lot of his career, but has shown really extremely good flashes. whenever he's been available, and I think it just suits a big need. I think Saints do not pass up on an interior defensive lineman with the first pick.
We have to go D-line.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
All right, and then to round it up, Philadelphia, Will McDonald IV, edge rusher out of Iowa State, and Kansas City, Anton Harrison, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma.
Well, there you have it. That is your first-round draft. I'm actually pretty excited to see how you do because I like the direction you went with a lot of the defensive players because you're absolutely right. I think this gets overlooked, especially in recent years. The cornerback position has become more and more valued in the draft. Like in recent years, it's underappreciated a lot of times. But yeah, like you said with Derek Stingley, nobody thought he was going number 3. He went number 3. These cornerbacks are hard. These good cornerbacks are hard to come by. So.
They're hard to come by, and then also the game has seen a very big increase in very talented wide receivers. So like teams, if a lot of teams have very talented wide receivers, like if that's a deep pool of the NFL, how do you counter that as a franchise? You got to draft cornerbacks.
Yep. I think the only thing I really disagree with is Jackson Smith and Jigba, but like you said, he has had injury issues, so we'll see how that affects him. All right, we'll have a recap of the draft next week. Let's move on to OTDISH on this day in sports history. In 1947, Lou Thies, I think that's how you say his name. It's 1947. Lou Thies beats Whipper Watson in St. Louis to win National Wrestling Association World Heavyweight title. This means nothing to me except the fact that Whipper Watson is the coolest name from the 40s.
Whipper Watson?
Whipper. No,
Whipper?
It's Whipper Watson.
Whipper Watson.
Also, you can't lose in a wrestling match if your name's Whipper Watson. You can't lose, period.
Dude, you whip up on everybody.
Yeah, exactly. What you got?
All right, 1901, Irv Beck hits AL's first home run, the American League's first home run. Just imagine being that guy.
You hit the American League first home run.
You hit the first home run ever in the league.
You got that. Well, he had that. He's probably dead now.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he still has it. I mean, the record lives on.
Yeah, that's true. Flags fly forever, huh?
Right, exactly.
Flags do fly forever. So, yeah, I guess the AL was formed in 1901.
That has to be a grandpa story. Like, if he had grandkids, that was definitely the big grandpa story when they were able to be conscious enough to remember. He told them that.
Yeah, they're probably like, sure, Grandpa. Okay, go take your pills now. Grandma's putting you to bed. Interesting. In 2009, the NFL draft, since we got the NFL draft coming up, I wanted to do one. 2009 NFL draft, Georgia quarterback Matt Stafford is first picked by Detroit. And, yeah, he was just a terror when he was at Georgia, and him and Calvin Johnson were probably one of my favorite quarterback wide receiver duos to ever watch on TV.
Oh, hands down.
It was unbelievable to watch him. Calvin Johnson was literally Megatron. He could throw it up within a 20-foot radius of him, and he'll catch it. And Matthew Stafford had a fucking cannon. He swung the ball, and he was a stud.
Yeah. Well, also in 93 and 2019, to kind of add on to that one, Drew Bledsoe and Kyler Murray were also number 1. So if the draft happens on April 25th, good chances are number 1 picks at quarterback.
Ooh, interesting.
But also nowadays, the number 1 quarterback's the number 1 pick's kind of always a quarterback.
It is always a quarterback, huh?
So
I think our last non-quarterback was Eric Fisher. In 2019? Or no, 2019 was Kyler Murray. Eric Fisher.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, no, that was a while ago.
I'm trying to think if they had. I think we had some defensive linemen, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Had to.
Why can't Aiden Hutchinson, right? Or
Aiden
no,
Hutchinson
that
was number 2. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I'll have to take a look and see.
We'll have to take a look because 2019 was Kyler Murray. I think 2020 was Tua, right? 2021 was whoever went above Aiden Hutchinson.
Well, no, Joe Burrow went
Joe Burrow was 2020.
Yeah, Sorry. He went a bit above. Oh, no. Last year, Trevon Walker.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that.
Oh. Anyways, well, there you go. That's how much we pay attention.
But before that, it was not until 2014 with Jadeveon Clowney.
Okay, so we had Jameis Winston, Jared Goff. Oh, Myles Garrett.
Oh, Myles Garrett. I forgot about
but
that.
But it's an overwhelming amount of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's Eric Fisher in 2013. Nice.
Okay. Anyways, all right. If you got anything else on OT Dish?
That's about it.
Okay. Let's get on to the NBA playoffs. Let's see. Where do we start? Let's start in the East. We'll go with the Milwaukee, Miami. Holy Jimmy fucking buckets. 56 motherfucking points. That dude's a viper. He's a fucking alpha dog.
Yeah.
Alpha motherfucking dog. He has single-handedly just willed the Miami Heat to win.
I think there's been echoes of, I thought it was a mispronunciation, but I think they actually were meaning it of Himmy Butler. Like he's him.
Himmy Butler.
Himmy Butler.
I like it.
Yeah.
Him. Let's see. I don't want to write off Milwaukee just yet. I don't. I really don't. It's hard because they got Giannis. They got Giannis.
Yeah, but if they keep fucking around, they might find out.
They're on the graph, huh?
I mean, they're getting there in dangerous zones of that graph.
Yeah, they are. If you fuck around this much, you'll find out.
Yeah.
I think if Giannis stays healthy, he can will them to a 7-game series. I really do.
Yeah.
But again, they're fucking around a little bit too much here.
I think that Game 4 really needed to be a win because honestly, they were leading like the entire game, even though Jimmy Butler did have his monster night of 56 points, but they led until 3 minutes and 17 seconds in the fourth quarter when the Heat went up 102 to 101.
Well, they didn't the Heat this past game. I think the Heat was it the Heat that went on like a 13-0 run at the end of the fourth quarter or something like that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they scored 13 points. 13-0 run in the last 2.5 minutes or something like that. It was absolutely insane. Which again, I don't think will happen. And they barely slid by some of those or one of the wins they had without Giannis. So I do think if Giannis is healthy and they don't fucking do that at the end of the third or fourth quarter, I think they'll take Game 5.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll have a problem taking Game 5 in Milwaukee. It's Game 6 in Miami that's going to be the worrisome one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is not going the way I thought it was going to go.
It's definitely gone a lot more interesting than whatever I was originally predicting.
No, yeah, this is like that scene in the Other Guys when Will Ferrell just absolutely schools Mark Wahlberg in his lion tuna theory.
Mm-hmm.
So is that how you thought it was going to go?
Nope. Well, although we did say that the Heat could be a scary team.
Yes.
Just because they have the same core and they have an experienced head coach that's gone deep in the playoffs. I don't know. Did we call this?
And they have Heat culture.
Did we manifest this?
We might have manifested.
We manifested.
We got to figure out what this manifesting shit is because we're manifesting the wrong things.
I mean,
I'm trying to manifest this Saints and Pelicans shit, and then Miami Heat kind of blows up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Miami leads 3-1. They got another game tomorrow. It should be a doozy of a game.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to the Cleveland versus New York Knicks series, the one I was looking forward to most, which ended up being surprising because New York won the first one, got dominated on the second one, and then won both of them at home because Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson found that Villanova chemistry that they had, and they're looking impossible now. They're looking impossible to stop.
That and R.J. Barrett's coming alive too.
He is. I think they put Hart in the starting lineup because he wasn't in the starting lineup the first couple of games. He's now in the starting lineup because of how well he works with Jalen Brunson, and they're doing all this with Julius Randle absolutely sucking.
Yeah. Well, it's come down to it's come down to the defense. They've been playing some lockdown defense. It's been,
I have it right there written down.
I mean, well, if you only let, which was the only win Cavs had, if you only let the Cavs score over 100 points in one game, like you're doing something. Like Tom Thibodeau's got some defense going.
Tibbs got to play like a unit.
Yeah.
Like a fucking unit. I could see this one done in I honestly, I could see it done in 5, but I think it's going to be done in 6. I think it's Knicks in 6.
Knicks in 6?
Yeah. Which, here's the thing. I hope some of these I was talking to you earlier. All of these besides 1 could literally be done in 5 games, which I don't want to happen. Mm-hmm. I love Game 7s. Game 7s in the playoffs is the best.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see a bunch of these series ending 5 games. Or 5 games or less. Like this next one. Actually, hang on. Okay. I think it's to be done in 6.
You think this one could be done in 6?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. The Knicks were able to steal one away from Cavs, which puts them in a prime position whenever they come back to Madison Square Garden, which the fans have been absolutely rocking. Inside.
Playoff basketball is just better when the Knicks are in it.
It really is. I kind of was just wondering. I was like, is that warranted? Like, because, obviously, like, they've been bad for quite some time. I was like, but have they ever been good? Which they've made it to 8 finals, and they've had 2 titles. So I can see them, and then the last title was in 1973. So they definitely have, like, that, that taste in their mouth that they're hungry.
You know who was on those 2 championship teams?
Who's that?
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
He was a player for the New York Knicks back in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Phil Jackson just wins. All he does is win.
All he does is win.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the next one. Philadelphia versus Brooklyn. Who cares? It was a sweep. We knew it was going to be a sweep. Nobody fucking thought it otherwise. We were hoping that maybe they could pull something out of their ass, but you said it last week. They're a bunch of supporting players.
Yep.
With no superstar.
No superstar.
Like, you know what would be awesome? You know what would make the Brooklyn Nets so fucking good?
What's that?
Is if they had, like, a Kevin Durant.
If they had a Kevin Durant or something like that?
Or if they had, like, a Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, something like that.
The Nets would be nasty.
They really should be interested in trying to trade for somebody like that.
Yeah, right? That's what I was thinking.
That would really complete the team.
It would. It would. It would bring it all together. If only, The only thing I got out of this series is we got to monitor Embiid because I think he's just perpetually injured, or I don't know. He's perpetually hurt, and then sometimes the hurt gets upgraded to an injury. Mm-hmm. That's it. But yeah, I didn't really have too much on this. This was a sweep.
Yeah, it was a sweep. The Nets' only chance was really Game 3, and to be honest, completely honest with you, James Harden's ejection was the reason that they propelled the Nets or the 76ers over the Nets that game.
Really?
Yeah, because honestly, it just looked like the Nets were just about to kind of pull away. They were at home. Looked like they were going to pull it off, and then because the momentum really wasn't swinging to the 76ers side, and then as soon as that happened, it was like there was that spark. They got that edge, like the 76ers, and they were able to overcome it.
Right. Yeah. Oh well, Brooklyn next year we'll find you a superstar. Mm-hmm. Boston, Atlanta. Hey, the Hawks got one. The Hawks got one. They got to win. I think it's gonna end tonight, or actually it's going on right now. Here, you know what? I'll
get a live update.
I'm gonna tell you right meow who's winning. Holy shit! The Hawks won.
Wow.
The Hawks won. Okay. Oh, this is exactly what I had. I literally on my note, if the Hawks want to keep winning, they literally need to make Tatum shoot threes. And the last shot of the game, Jason Tatum misses a 28-foot three-pointer from the left wing. And that would have made it that would have been the shot that
won the game. Wow.
Trae Young had the Hawks' last shot. Made a 30-foot three-pointer. Yeah.
Interesting.
Make Jason Tatum shoot threes. I literally have it written down right there. Right there. I also thought the series was going to end tonight, so I was wrong there. 50-50,
I thought so too, but honestly, I've used this term a lot with a lot of other sports, and other teams. But this is definitely just a prime year for Quinn Snyder. They're just priming the team up, priming the engine up a little bit.
Hey, it's going into Game 6.
Yeah. So, like, anything that he does is going to be just kind of lanyap, get good playoff experience for the team. And then he can kind of get his team and get everything he wants next year set the way he does. And I you know what, the Hawks could be a force.
I hope not, but they could.
Yeah,
they could. So the East has turned out to be, like, aside from Brooklyn, Philly, the East has kind of turned out to be a weird one.
Right.
It's been a little weird, especially with the win tonight with the Hawks. It is not. I thought this was going to be a lot more one-sided than it actually is. Mm-hmm. Now onto the West. Let's get through Denver, Minnesota really quick. Minnesota's just out. They have no answer for Jokic, and then when Jokic doesn't play well, Denver has another player to step up.
Yeah, I mean you really have to have, like, big men to be able to counter the Nikola Jokic.
But that's the thing they did. They got Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, that was the joke.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Yeah, they
still can't stop him.
They can't stop him. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And what's fucking weird is the only game that Minnesota has won, Jokic put up 43. Mm-hmm. 43. Holy fuck, dude.
The Nuggets are a scary team when the other players are coming alive, and I think we see that with Michael Porter Jr.'s coming back, and especially Jamal Murray, which we've been deprived of since he's been hurt for quite some time. He's coming back. He's got 25 points per game in the playoffs, 6 assists, and shooting 45% from field goal and 36 from the three-point line. That's going to be a big indicator on how far they go in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And they have Aaron Gordon, which is always a nice role player. I think that'll end today. They're playing right now. I think it's tied, but yeah, I think that one. I don't think that one goes into Game 6 or Game 7.
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns versus the Clippers. Well, I mean, yeah, sure. I know Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are out, but we told you so. Mm-hmm. We told you so.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would quit if I was a Clippers fan. I would quit being a fan of the Clippers if I was a Clippers fan. This is so fucking frustrating.
It is. And actually, when the other teams kind of sympathize for a player like, Russell Westbrook, it's kind of getting bad. Like they were trying to give, like, props to, like, Russell Westbrook. He's trying to do everything he can, and they're like, yeah, I mean, he's hustling. He's doing great.
That's what you tell the kid. That's what you tell the team that's, like, literally doing everything they can, but they're just not good enough.
They're just not good enough.
They hustled. You gave it your all out there. You
resilient out there.
You held nothing back.
Yeah.
You're a good energy team. Ugh,
I will say this for the Suns. This has been a perfect series with, like, low pressure to kind of get KD back to regain form.
Yes. Yep. He's looking better and better. They're going to be hard to stop if they're firing on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't pay Kawhi any more money. Like, he's your best ability is availability, and he between load management and getting hurt, he's good when he's out there, but if you're not out there most of the time, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah. The thing is this series is a different series if Kawhi Leonard's out there.
It's a completely different series. Yeah.
I think they could last, make it a Game 7 without Paul George, but, like, without Kawhi Leonard, no.
No,
even if they had Paul George, I say no.
No, I don't, because playoff P, he sucks.
Yeah.
Paul George in the playoffs for some reason just is not good. Let's see. Let's get to the one series we have tied: Sacramento Kings versus Golden State Warriors. This has been the series of the playoffs so far.
Yeah,
I know, like, some people will get to the Memphis Lakers one, but this has been the series. It's been awesome. This has been the only game that we've had determined by 1 point on a last-second shot. Mm-hmm. This is now, granted, we have had games going to overtime. I will, again, like I said, we'll get into the Memphis Lakers series, but This has been awesome. It's kind of like what we said. It was like it's going to go into 7, and most likely Sacramento's going to win in 7. Well, not anymore. We'll have to see about De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah,
he's got a hurt hand.
He's going to play through it, but still.
Well,
I mean, it's going to affect.
He was listed as doubtful for Game 5.
Yeah, but I think I got a report that he said he was going to play through it.
He's going to try and play through it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're going to have we'll call him a 60% De'Aaron Fox because he's been coming alive. He's been doing absolutely excellent.
Oh, yeah.
This series. We'll see. Game 5 is in Sacramento. I'm going to go ahead and say the Warriors are going to lose that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's kind of the way the series has been going, technically, right? Mm-hmm. It's been the home team has won, and like Golden State's proven that they kind of haven't been good away from their home. Mm-hmm. So
now, if De'Aaron Fox is not playing in Game 5, I think the Warriors could definitely take this. But again, I want every series to go to Game 7. I think we could see a Game 7 in this series.
Yeah.
I really want to. All right, now the Memphis Lakers one. This is Dylan Brooks touched LeBron's penis. He touched his wee-wee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you see that? It was intentional.
It was intentional.
He nut-checked him. I mean, you got to go look at it. Whenever you get a second, go look at the video.
Was it like James Harden nut check?
No, this one I think was actually more intentional.
Okay.
Yeah, this one actually, I think Dylan Brooks wanted to jerk LeBron James off. I think Dylan Brooks, secretly loves LeBron James.
Well, we did say that he had to be creative in his tactics.
Yes, he does.
So, Lance Stevenson did the blowing of the ear, the ear.
He did the actual blowing.
He did actual blowing.
He's going to do the actual blowing. Okay.
Yeah.
He wanted to poke the bear, so this is... these are all signs pointing to Dylan Brooks being in love with LeBron James.
Yeah, so he maybe wanted to poke him in the nuts.
Maybe he wanted to poke him in the butt. Dylan Brooks just wants to fuck LeBron James. That seems like what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
This has been a good series though. We had an overtime game. Last game went into overtime. Even though it is 3-1, and the Memphis Grizzlies panic meter has to be just full, completely full.
Oh yeah.
Because John Morant, he reminds me of, if you ever seen Dukes of Hazzards, the one with Sean William Scott, Jessica Simpson, Willie Nelson, and all them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, in the scene, Johnny Knoxville, and Sean William Scott, they start a fight in a restaurant because a random hick hits on Jessica Simpson, and I think he slaps her ass or something. So they start a fight, and then the sheriff comes in and shoots the gun, and as everybody's stopping, you see Sean William Scott in a helmet diving across the restaurant and just lands straight on the floor.
Okay.
That's what I picture every time I see John Morant go to the hoop.
Go to the hoop.
Yeah, he's just diving. It doesn't matter who. It honestly, it's kind of wild. It reminds me of a Russell Westbrook, or the way you play, Joe.
Yeah.
The way you play basketball. It's absolutely wild.
I mean, just head down, drive to the basket.
And
just hope for the best.
Rely on talent.
Yeah.
Just rely on your talent. And look, it works sometimes, but also you got to learn from your mistakes.
Uh-huh.
You can't just go at Anthony Davis anymore. Sorry, bud. You saw the end of that game, right? Anthony Davis smacks the shit out of the ball.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You can't. I will give props to LeBron. He came in clutch. Now, granted, it was a layup. So he came in clutch that game. That was to, I believe it was to tie it to go into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I guess kudos to you, LeBron. This Lakers team can make a run.
They can, unfortunately. I don't want to see it, but it's tough for the Grizzlies to be in this situation. They had Ja hurt, Steven Adams is out. You definitely don't want to be down to a team that has LeBron, and especially, too, if LeBron has other players that are clicking to where he can kind of Michael Jordan at the end of his career where he only kind of needs to show up in the fourth quarter, which like he did, you know, then that's going to make the Lakers a dangerous team.
This series just feels like it doesn't feel like a 3-1. It feels like a 2-2, right? It just does. It feels like this is an even series.
Well, I can tell you this. Like, this is definitely, like, probably the series I would pay the most to see a Game 7 for.
I agree. I want to see Jaren Jackson as much as I can.
And that's no knock against the Kings and the Golden State series, because I think that's an excellent series, and I would definitely pay, like, second highest amount to go see that Game 7. But this is the one I would pay to see the most, because you know if they go to a Game 7, this is going to have all the drama.
Oh, it's going to be it's literally it's going to be a reality TV show of a game.
There will be like 3 fights started during the game.
Oh, correct. And it would be where, in Memphis?
It would be in Memphis.
I don't think that bodes well for the Lakers. I think they might be able to win Game 5. I think they could possibly win Game 5 in Memphis, but if it goes to Game 7, I don't see them winning.
Yeah.
So, now Game 5 and Game 6, easy. Lakers could definitely pull this off. But if what that would mean is that the Grizzlies went on a two game run, so they would be on fire going into Game 7.
Yeah, that is true.
So, I am looking forward to this. I really hope this series, along with most of the other series, goes to a Game 6 or a Game 7. Game 7s are the best.
Game 7s are the best.
Oh, I hope.
Well, we have other rounds that those series can go up to Game 7.
That is true. This is true. You got anything else on that?
Should we talk about Dillon Brooks, his comments?
What did he say?
Well, because he's kind of failing to live up to his talking. But the one thing I wanted to kind of talk about was he was like trying to brag about like, oh, I won't give you respect unless you score 40 on me.
Yeah.
And it's like 40's a lot of points. Like you can I mean, I would feel like you would have a little bit more pride in your defense to at least say like 30.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he has confidence in himself.
Yeah, that's a weird move. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I won't give you respect unless you score 70. It's like, oh, you're gonna give up 70 points.
He's a pretend villain. He's not really a villain.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He's not a. He might be in the beginning stages of a villain, but I think this kind of killed that. He wants to be looked at as a villain, but he doesn't actually want to be the villain. Does that make sense? Like Draymond Green relishes in being the villain. He loves it. Dillon Brooks, I think he actually wants to be liked. It's like that. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this, because it's escaping me. But he actually, like, he wants to be liked, but he's just going about it all in the wrong way. Like, I know we had a coworker I had. He asked for attention in all the wrong ways. He liked to be friends with everybody. He was cool and outgoing, but he tried to get attention by hating on things that we all liked.
Oh, okay.
It was a weird way he wanted to get attention. And I think that's what Dillon Brooks is. I think he wants attention, he wants to be liked, but he's going about it all in the wrong way.
Well, he also might be gay.
Yeah, that's true.
He might be gay.
He might just be fighting with his sexuality.
Well, because he also did. No, he's actually out. He's out of the closet now.
Oh, really?
Because, he was asked about, going to the pregame, and he said, or the postgame conference, and he was like, I'm out.
Oh,
so
okay.
So he's out of the closet.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe from here on out, he might be, he might be normal. He might be tame.
Okay. It's
like when you get a dog neutered, they're supposed to, calm down a little bit. When he comes out, he's going to chill out.
He's going to chill out.
Okay. All right, well, I'm glad we figured that out. Let's see. We had a couple of hires: Nick Nurse to Toronto and Ime Udoka to Houston. Ime Udoka must be he's got something. He must be the smoothest talker of all time, or he's just a really, really fucking good coach, and we just haven't seen it yet. But he keeps getting jobs.
Honestly, I feel like Houston swiped him away from Toronto because I think that was their number one pick.
Really?
Because I think
because they hired Nick Nurse before
Well, no, I won't. Toronto Raptors. They fired Nick Nurse.
Oh, they fired Nick Nurse.
They fired Nick Nurse.
Right.
And they wanted.
Ime Udoka in
I wasn't
the Rockets.
even try to pronounce it.
Yeah, that's good. Good point. Good call. And then the Rockets swiped him up.
Yeah.
Interesting. Then that means the Rockets probably gave him more money than they wanted to.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it's the NBA. They'll throw money around. Yeah. Well, he must be. He's doing something right because he got fired from the Boston Celtics. Well, he didn't initially get fired after those allegations. He didn't get fired. He
was suspended.
He was suspended for a year, and they figured out, hey, we're doing pretty well with the guy we have now. We're gonna go ahead and fire Ime Udoka. I think the Brooklyn Nets brought him in for a little bit, right? No. Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else. I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. And then amid all the allegations and everything, he ends up getting a job at Houston, which people were saying that this was a bad move for the Rockets because of Deshaun Watson. What? What?
Because of
Deshaun Watson. What? That's not even...
Houston can't handle any more allegations?
Yeah, you're not even in the same sport. You're just in the same city. It don't make any sense.
He was an assistant at Brooklyn before the Celtics.
Oh, okay.
What else?
Anyways, but yeah, so you're going to bring up Deshaun Watson and Ime Udoka in the same conversation? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
You're just... They were stretching. Mm-hmm. That was a stretch. So.
Fat lady yoga stretch.
But you got anything else in the NBA?
I think that's about it.
I think so too. We're gonna because we had the draft and playoff basketball. We're gonna omit the other Talking Soccer segment. We'll get to Talking Soccer maybe not next week, but the weekend after, along with other playoff hockey news and playoff baseball news. So, love y'all.
Later.